Welcome back to CFB Nation. I'm your host, Nino Brown, and I got my guy, Mr. Get It Done, aka D now in the building. And when you see us on the screen, you know what it means. It's Devy Darling time. What's good, my guy?
Another day, watched a pretty banger soccer game and then heard 9 wins spicy take on CFB Prime. I mean, woo.
I love my guy Kevin Stone going out there throwing out the spicy take. But hey, if everything works out and they put all the pieces of the pie together, I think it absolutely can happen. So I'm with it. Let's get into this guy. He's been a guy I was intrigued by a little bit last year, a little more watching him and kind of diving into him. I think there's a chance this guy could really pop on the scene and be the guy. We're talking about Sedrick Irvin. Right now, he's running back out of Stanford his sophomore year. Before we get on to that, we're gonna back it up a little bit. 5'10", 190, right? He came out of Columbus High School out of Florida. He's a 4-star running back recruit. He's also with 3-sport athlete. Football, track on the normal ones, right? But he also played lacrosse. This guy's athleticism is on all cylinders here. He was the Rising Raider Award winner of the Offensive Player of the Year. He's also a state champion, right? RB 35 in the 2023 class. And he's a cousin of Cowboys legend and the U veteran Michael Irvin. So he's got them guys, got the guys he can go talk to for some tips and work out, and push the buttons a little bit. So the pedigree is there. D, now talk to me about Columbus High School.
Yeah, so Columbus High School, his junior year, he played 11 games, rushed 137 times for 739 yards, 13 touchdowns. But he also had 12 receptions, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he had 3 100-yard games. So then his senior year, he upped the ante. He played 14 games, 191 attempts, just over 1,000 yards, 1,050 yards, 10 touchdowns. He averaged 5.5 yards per carry, had 14 receptions, 159 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he had 4 100-yard games.
There was a bucket. He was just a dual threat guy. He was able to catch the ball out of the backfield and just run between tackles and do his thing. So I think, right there was a prospect. And it was evident with the 20-plus offense. Obviously, Stanford was there. Ron Gould was the main guy that was recruiting him. And, he brought in some guys. E.J. Smith was the most recent guy. Austin Jones, who ended up transferring to USC. But there was a guy that he had a college career, right? And he was the dude.
It threw me off when I saw this.
He was the main guy that recruited Java Best, okay? And, Java Best was a great collegiate running back. Unfortunately, injuries, in the NFL, kind of hurt him a little bit there, and it shortened his career. But, I mean, he sees the talent. E.J. Smith, recently just transferred out of Stanford. He had, a season at Stanford where he was a guy, and he put up some numbers. So, and again, that's, Emmitt Smith's son. So it's like he sees the eye. Alabama recruited him. UConn, Oregon, Tulane, Georgia, Virginia Tech, Michigan, Florida State, and more. Also Penn State, who Jawan Schneider was, a major factor into recruiting, who brought in Devon Ford, Nicholas Singleton, 2 guys who were good running backs. Obviously, Singleton's still there, but Ford was a good running back in a collegiate career as well. So he was a guy that, was targeted, but not many people kind of knew about him. Obviously, there were some schools. What I see, right off the rip in Irvin's game is 2020 ain't got shit on Irvin's vision. This kid has good vision and patience. He sees the hole and boom, he goes. There's no pity patter. He waits till it develops, boom, gone. He's a dual threat running back, like we said. He can catch the ball in the backfield, and he runs between tackles and goes outside. He's not just one trick pony, right? He's quick in and out of cuts in the pass game. He can plant and go, or he can be shifty and move around in the midfield. So, Dino, what did you see that you liked that jumped off the screen to you?
Yeah, so like you said, quick in and out of cuts. His lateral movement and quickness is top tier. He's got incredibly soft hands. He's the kind of guy that could catch an egg in his hands, just cradle it without it cracking on you. One thing I noticed, he's got football speed, which is surprising considered he ran track. He doesn't have that elite top end speed, but he's fast. He can be a dink and dunk kind of guy. But then at the same time, he can be a home run hitter. So you never know what you're going to get on any kind of given play with him, which I think makes him the ultimate weapon.
I know they got a couple 4-star kids coming in there as freshmen in that Stanford running back room, but I do believe that his ability to adapt the chameleon style that he has, I think he'll be the RB1 in that room off the rip. And if they give him the majority of carries, I don't think he's going to fumble the rock and give anybody a chance to kick the door open. So I do believe we're going to see a season where he's just kind of develop and progress. Listen, last year he only played in 7 games. Okay, he had 26 attempts, 150 yards and a touchdown. The average goes to 4.5 yards per carry. He had 3 targets, 2 receptions for 9 yards. Out of the 113, though, and these are things I kind of want to, keep. This is the fact that I see it running back. Okay? He had 99 yards after contact out of 113. In the intro, you see the dude just go head on with a guy, stop him, shift it out to the outside, broke it out for another 35 yards. So he has the physicality to him. He's not just going to fall down. He can stand up and keep moving. He had 5 first downs right out of 26 attempts, 81 breakaway yards, and he had three runs of 10 plus. Only 1 fumble, 0 penalties. So there's discipline there as a freshman last year. So I liked what I saw a little bit in the game. Hopefully he gets more. Talk to me about the coming out of the backfield, though, what we've seen.
Yeah, so receiving, he only had 10 total snaps. 7 snaps were in the slot, 3 snaps out wide. And in his first start versus Arizona, he had 10 attempts for 66 yards and 1 TD.
So that was pretty much his only start that they gave him last year, and he didn't disappoint. He's talking about 6.6 yards per carry, and he had the touchdown. We're gonna break that part of the show where we break down the player comps, and lately what we've been doing is the the ceiling and the floor, and I kind of enjoying this because you're getting 2 comps, and you kind of can see where he could fall, right, and where we think that like the absolute worst would be for him. So. Guys might forget about this hilltop of legend in Bobby Rainey. He was back-to-back 1,600-yard running back. That's my flaw. Okay, it's Bobby Rainey's style. He was also a guy who was shifty enough. It could be a dual threat guy out of the backfield. It was early when he went to NFL in a time where they didn't really rely on a dual threat, but he could be that relief guy, come in, get a few carries, get a few attempts, but also be that receiving threat. And then if everything hits, if all cylinders are on go, he checks all the boxes. He has the capability to be that Fred Taylor type back. He has that physicality like Fred, right? You see it early, just smash into a guy, legs keep turning. Okay, I'll roll off you. That Fred was known for that. Roll off, do the shoulder dip, get 3, 4, 5 more yards. I think you give Irvin another 2 years in a collegiate weight room in that program. I just feel he can get more physical. He can take on more, be a yak monster. And I see the game. I see where he has the hands and he has the footwork to be both a dual threat guy. So what are the guys you like, and what are your thoughts on my guys?
I love the Bobby Rainey comp. Again, before his time.
Yes.
In today's game, he would eat 100%. Not a name that is on a lot of people's mind either. That Fred Taylor comp, though, I mean, that's setting the bar pretty high. I love Fred Taylor growing up. Yeah. I know, but yeah. Fred Taylor completely underrated as a running back.
100%.
So I love those comps, both of them. So my comps, my floor is Stephen Ridley, another physical running back, not afraid to go over you, but could also bounce it outside. Very underrated catcher for your Patriots, was known as a third down receiving back for a lot of his career. And then my ceiling is I have Dalvin Cook, but I kind of want to alter it to more of like a combination of Dalvin Cook, Madison, Vikings combo. I think he could kind of be the best of both worlds. Again, with the running over aspect coming from Madison, but then inside, outside, not top end of speed, but football speed that Dalvin Cook has. And again, Dalvin Cook, extremely underrated as a receiving back.
Yeah, I was going to say, so when Cook was in the NFL, he had, 2 years before Madison became a thing, where he was the receiving guy. I think he was getting maybe 30 targets a year, 20-something receptions. So he was kind of that guy, and he put that, and then Madison came in and kind of just took that away from him. But yeah, I love both of those comps. Obviously, Stephen Ridley, I'm a homer. But when I saw it on the mock, I hadn't checked it till we got on right before, and I was like, oh, shit, Stephen. But yeah, he fits that role. And that's what Stephen Ridley was. Physical guy, always known to flex him on, right? Guy was chiseled. Didn't shy away from contact by any means. I don't think Irvin shies away from contact by any means. but does have enough shiftability where he can make a guy miss, right? And maybe extend the play, get a couple of chunk yards. So yeah, I love both comps. And Dalvin Cook isn't the low bar. I mean, I know Fred Taylor's great, but
yeah, but it's not Fred Taylor.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook had a chunk of years where he was like the dude, right, for a while, top 5 running back. So yeah, I mean, I guess we kind of set the ceiling a little high for the young fella here, but I think, like I said, we always say if he checks all the boxes and everything works out, what we see
in a
as a
world.
prospect in a perfect world, yes, I think this guy could be, a Devy asset. I think this guy can play on Sundays instead of Saturdays. This was a great episode. We're getting into our bag here. We're starting to find these guys and nobody's really talking about, or we're talking about just a little bit before others are really getting into it, and I'm loving it. I think we're going to start seeing a little bit more talk about Sedrick Irvin as we get closer to the season, which I believe is almost less than 60 days away.
Yeah, pretty close. I want to say like 63-ish days.
Yes,
that's right around the corner.
Less than 2 months worth, and we'll be back watching college football again. In the meantime, you guys go get that game, because that trailer that just dropped of the actual gameplay just looks crazy. I can't wait. It's going to be hard to not be involved in a season, you know what I mean? But we got college football to actually watch. Again, I'm Nino Brown. That's my guy, Dino. This is Devy Darlings on the CFB Nation. We out.